Welcome into the latest episode of our Cubs REKAP Podcast, a presentation of our REKAP YouTube channel and available audio only everywhere you get your favorite podcasts. The man in the other screen is my partner, Gordon Wittenmeyer. I'm David Kaplan. It's brought to you by our great partners at the Illinois Tollway and their If Only campaign. Folks, quick timeout because we want to talk about something serious. We've all said it before. If only I had slowed down. The Illinois Tollway's new campaign is called If Only, and it's a powerful reminder that speeding doesn't just put you at risk. It affects everyone on the road. Every crash leaves someone wishing they'd done things differently. So take the extra time, slow down, save lives, including yours, depend on it, courtesy of the Illinois Tollway and their If Only campaign. Gordon, I got a question for you.
Yes, sir.
We're taping here. It's 1:30 in the afternoon, approximately Chicago time. And I cannot wait until tonight when I get my Cubs against Paul Skeens and the Pirates, and I've got CadeHorton going. Oh, man, doctor, this is just phenomenal theater. And I wear my Cub loyalty right there on my sleeve and right on the front of my shirt.
You always do.
Let me ask you a question. Do you allow yourself to root for a team at all, or are you, I'm a journalist, I just want a good story? Because that's weak.
Well, first of all, you can stick that weak up your ass. The second part of it is I've done this. This is my 29th year as a baseball beat writer, and I've covered 5 different teams. That job, Cap, you and I have similar access, but we have different jobs over the years. And the job that I do, the grind of it, all that travel, all the bullshit you deal with, and I'm not complaining about it. I obviously love it or I wouldn't be doing it. And I love the game. It beats the hell out of you. It beats the fan out of you. Over the years, I have developed a great deal of respect and admiration for individuals in the game, a lot of them actually, across a lot of the teams I've covered as I've gotten to know people. And I root for them. I root for people. But I've stopped a long time ago rooting for the teams. It's not there. I mean, I grew up in Seattle. Before we had the Mariners, I was a Dodgers fan. We had the Mariners, I was a Mariners fan. First team I covered was the Mariners. After a couple of years of that, I wasn't a fan anymore. Just naturally, and you can't really do the job right if you are. So you can say, "Oh, I'm a journalist." Yeah, I'm a professional. That's what it boils down to. So you stick the journalism crap up your ass. But I'm just a professional at what I do, and it beats the fan out of you.
So I interviewed Bob Ryan, one of the great journalists of all time in sports, right?
He's a columnist. So,
I said to him, can I ask you a question, Bob? Because I was sitting doing a show with David Haw, who always had to say, I'm a journalist. And I'm like, oh, come on, man. You're not covering politics. You're covering sports. Are you ever a fan? No, I just want a good story to write about. And Bob, I said to Bob, before we let you go, can you please tell me if you root for the teams that you cover in Boston? He said, hell yes, I do. I'm a diehard fan. And when I criticize him, it gives me more credibility. Absolutely. And that's how I look at it. Now, I'm not a writer like you.
Right. He's not a beat guy. That's different. And by the way, I don't know that that's the best approach to take. I represent the fans. I'm a bridge between the clubhouse and the seating area. And so my loyalty has to be to the fans. It can't be to the team.
Yes.
And so I represent them. If I think the team's ripping them off by charging X amount for tickets and not delivering on that, I will criticize that to the end of time. That's consumer advocacy. So that's what I am. I represent the fans. I'm loyal to the fans' interest because they're also my readers. And so that's the way I look at it. Sometimes it might come off like, sometimes it could come off like I'm a fan, and sometimes it could come off like I'm the opposite of a fan. And I've gotten criticism both ways, which is crazy to me. But that probably means I'm doing it about right.
Okay, so from my seat, I am, and I've never hidden this fact since the day I got in the business. I'm a diehard Chicago Cubs fan.
No kidding.
But I have one of my closest friends works for the White Sox. I have a great relationship with Chris Getz. I have a great relationship with people at Wrigley. I actually have friends on other teams in other cities that I will talk to. And I hope they do well unless you play my team. But I will never hide the fact that I want the Chicago Cubs to freaking win. And when they don't win, I'm pissed off about it, and I'm going to say it. And I think that gives me tremendous credibility with the fans that follow this channel. They are the lifeblood of the channel. Without them, we don't have a channel. Right. And I will absolutely call out Tom Ricketts or Jed Hoyer. And I know there's going to be times I've had players over there, whether it was Sammy back in the day or Marlon Byrd throwing his bat down in batting practice and getting in my face. It's going to happen. But guess what? When I wear my emotions on my sleeve, it is what it is. I'm an entertainer first.
Yeah, well, I'm not. And
yeah, we have different career paths.
Different jobs. They're different jobs. And my job isn't, I was brought up at a time before there was chasing clicks and the whole thing. The business model was different, but the job is generally the same. I can't get upset because I'm a fan, but I can get upset on behalf of the fans. My job is to tell you why they're winning or why they're not, or how far away they are from winning and what needs to be done and who's doing their job and who's not. That's my job.
Okay, so I interviewed the late Vin Scully. And I was nervous. I knocked on the door. He's at Wrigley. Excuse me, Mr. Scully. He said, it's Vin. Vin, my name's David Kaplan. I host the pregame and postgame show. Any chance I could have an interview with you? He said, sit down, young man, all the time you want. It was like, I'm going to say 11 in the morning at Wrigley with a 1:20 Friday game. And we had this I did like a half hour with him. He was amazing. And I cut it up into parts. And I said, do you root for the Dodgers? And he said, look, I was in New York with them. He said, and then we moved west. But he said, when I was in New York, I had the New York Giants, the New York Yankees. I had the Brooklyn Dodgers. And there may have even been a fourth team that he said picked up their signal. Maybe it was the Phillies. And he said, look, you got to understand something. The way I was taught way back 70 years ago, I couldn't root for my team because I would alienate three other fan bases that would not listen to me. He said, if I worked here, Harry was still alive at the time. Harry, he goes, you see that guy right there? He's in the most provincial town in America. If Harry is not rooting for the Cubs, he's dead. He won't survive. You have to do the job tailored to the market you're in. He goes, here, you can absolutely be a fan. New York and in LA, when he was going, you couldn't.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. But that, again, that is a massively different job. And you're literally employed by the team. So, yeah, I mean, it's totally apples and oranges. I tell you what, I just did a thing the other day where I talked to some journalism students. I should have told them to friggin' run. One thing I told them was that you have to remember when you're going in, not only to differentiate yourself, you can't just show up and cover games. You can't just show up and root. You're covering. I mean, it's like Watergate. I know it's just baseball, but you're still covering. You're covering a business. You have to follow the money. Because that tells you more about what's going on than the decisions that are being made than any other statistic. And so you're covering $1 billion industry, a multi-billion-dollar industry. Your team is $1 billion team, often a multi-billion-dollar team. And so the business matters as much as anything, and history matters, right? And also, one of my, and we can talk about the Cubs here in a minute and get off of this whole tangent. But the other thing is, like, the way I cover things is you connect dots. You always do that anyway, right? Like, even in a game, what leads to the win, what leads to the loss. You're always connecting dots, but you're also connecting dots to these guys' lives, what's going on in their lives compared to, how it's manifesting on the field. And also what's going on sometimes in the city, in the community, and what's going on with that team. So, we saw politics come into play with the Cubs when they were trying to get money for the stadium. And so all of these things are part of my job, and it's required. Like in some parts of the media, you can ignore that stuff if you want to. I can't.
All right, let's talk about what is a reasonable level of expectation for the Chicago Cubs when they get to the postseason, because they can clinch tonight.
Yeah.
It's a great pitching matchup. It's Skeens and Horton tonight. And win or lose, they're going to get in, and probably with a 4-game lead with, I believe, what do the Cubs have, 11 left to play? 12. They're at 150, so they got 12 games left to go. They have a 4-game lead over the San Diego Padres. I would think they're going to be hosting the wild card in Chicago. They're 5 games back of Milwaukee.
Hosting the Padres.
Correct. And if the Padres hang in there, right now the Padres, they have a 5-game lead over the Mets, so I would assume that they're going to be fine.
I think they play the Mets for 3 too. So I think they have 3 left against the Mets. So that'll
as do the Cubs.
But the Mets have been just in free fall. They lost 8 straight before they won.
And San Diego's only 2 back of the Dodgers. So it could be the Dodgers coming to Wrigley.
It could be the Dodgers. And what's funny is that some of these other teams in play, like the Giants, have the Dodgers, I think, 4 more times. So if the Giants get in, it might be at the expense of the Dodgers winning the division, which could mean the Dodgers are coming to town to face the Cubs. So all these things are, it's really pretty exciting. And I'm not sure what I think of that watered down last spot for in the wild card standings, but you can't deny just how exciting it is right now. I think as far as the Cubs are positioned, I really like their chances against the Padres. I just saw the Padres. Padres are struggling to hit and score runs.
And no Xander Bogaerts the rest of the year.
Right. And so, they can catch the ball at enough spots. They can pitch some. They have a tremendous bullpen. So, the key there is to get a lead. Get a lead and tack on, have a 3-run lead by the late innings. If it's a 1-run lead and the bullpens are deciding it, you could be in trouble. But I like the idea of being able to hold them down. And the Cubs have enough starting pitching, I think, especially in the first round, especially in a 3-game series. And if Tyone gets bumped to the bullpen, and I don't care who's closing, I don't really think it matters. I think you just match up the last few innings.
Yeah, it's probably what's going to happen. So the Chicago Cubs right now, only one team has a better run differential. That's Milwaukee. The Cubs and the Phillies are tied, and that's better than everybody else in Major League Baseball. So if I tell you that they end up there at 86-64, they got 12 left. Let's assume they just go 6-6 and they win 92 ball games. Mm-hmm. Would you look at this season, if they don't advance beyond the wild card, was this season a success?
Not if they don't advance, no. But I'll say that exceeds my expectations going into the season. You and I talked.
What record did I tell you?
Right. I think you
92-70.
I couldn't. I thought I was going to say 91, but yeah, right in that range. Yeah, that's what I remember. So, yeah, they hit your expectation. They exceeded my expectation. But if they, especially is positioned the way they are, and getting that home series in a short series, if you don't win this thing because what's left of your frontline pitching didn't come through against a wild card team, then you failed.
Agreed, 100%.
And I don't care what the final win total is.
All right, so let's talk about what you would do in game 1, because you're probably going to be able to set your pitching up. There's some talk, is this the last start tonight for CadeHorton? I don't think so, because you're 2 weeks out from that game 1.
Let him start one more, even if it's just a 5-inning tune-up.
Yeah, even not 5 innings. Just, hey, you're going to throw 50, 60, 70 pitches,
Whatever it is.
and you're done. Whatever. Who cares if we win or lose? We're getting you right. Would you start CadeHorton in game 1?
Yes.
You would?
Yes. And it's as simple as this. Well, twofold. One, he's your best pitcher going.
No
He's
doubt.
the best pitcher in the majors going right now.
Probably right.
So his confidence is sky high, and he's pitching that well. So you got that working in your favor. The other thing is, if you pitch him in game 1, he doesn't have the burden of survival going into a start. If you pitch him in game 2, it's like, oh boy, I can end this series. And there's a little bit of pressure there. It's almost like a closer in the 9th inning. If you wait till game 3 and he's needed for game 3, it's even more pressure on him. So as a young pitcher, I think, maybe ironically enough, there's less pressure on him in a game 1 start than the others.
So CadeHorton right now, since the All-Star break, his ERA is 0.84. 0.84.
I think if you go back further than that, if you go back since, what was it, that June 27th when he stunk it up, he's like 110, 115, 120, something like that, which is the best in the majors since then.
Yeah, and the only pitcher in the history of the sport to have a better ERA than CadeHorton since the All-Star break, his 0.84, is only surpassed, I believe, by Jake Arrieta in 2015.
Yeah,
he was 0.75.
So here's a question, Cap. I have a Rookie of the Year vote this year.
Wow.
Make your CadeHorton case for me.
That's easy. It's a layup.
It's a layup.
CadeHorton is legitimately the number 1 pitcher on a 90-plus win baseball team. He did not even come up till May the 10th. He got his feet under him, and since late June, he has been the best pitcher in baseball.
Okay, well, what about your boy over there in Milwaukee, Isaac Collins?
He's had a very good year. He's not better than CadeHorton. He's a good player. He is not as impactful as CadeHorton has been on the Cubs rotation, where he has jumped into the number 1 spot.
And I'm looking. There's a couple other. What about the catcher in Atlanta? Drake
Baldwin, very good player. He'd probably be number 2 on my list, and number 3 would be Isaac Collins. And no, Mizorowski does not get a vote.
No, Mizorowski's not making my top 3. No way.
No shit.
But there's let's see. There's this kid in Miami, Augustin. Well, he's not doing too well right now. He's got.
By the way, CadeHorton 7-2 with a 1.25 since July 1st.
Yeah,
pretty damn good. That's courtesy of the crack researcher named Ryan McGuffey, co-founder of the Recap.
Yeah, I'm not sure that I can come back at you with a really hard argument for somebody else right now. So I'm going to be anxious to see this start tonight. A marquee matchup of two of the best young pitchers in the game right now.
Yep.
Win or lose, how he fares in that will tell me something. So I'll keep my eyes on. He might.
By the way, in Vegas, the betting favorite right now, according to the odds makers, CadeHorton minus 160 to win it.
Who the hell cares? I have a vote. They didn't ask me.
I'm asking you. Are you going to vote for the guy?
I don't know yet. The season's not over. But like I told you, when I'm looking at these other candidates, I don't see somebody who jumps off the page that I can make a persuasive argument against him when I'm talking to you. And you know how much I like to beat the hell out of you in arguments. So that tells me that he's doing really good. He's got a good chance to get my vote.
He absolutely does. Also want to welcome a new partner to the Recap. It is Sinus and SnoringMD.com. Fall allergies in full swing. Ragweed, mold, and dust can trigger congestion. Cold, dry air makes sinus problems worse. You get the sinus pressure, the headaches, the stuffy nose, and your snoring often gets worse as cooler weather leads to more indoor time and dry air. Sleep issues, snoring, sleep apnea, and congestion make it harder to rest and recharge during your busy fall schedule. Do what I did. I don't snore anymore because of these great people. Sinus and SnoringMD.com. Sinus and SnoringMD.com. I don't snore anymore. How about that?
Yeah, I don't snore.
My wife said, hon, we have a friend, his daughter works at Sinus and Snoring. Can you please go there? I'm sick of hearing you snore. Okay. I went. I'm like, oh, wow, this is amazing. Would you guys like to advertise? Yes, we would. Here you go. So, yeah, they're awesome. They're awesome. Okay.
I said on the last podcast, you got to give me the information there because I'm going to ask my wife to check in with them.
Sounds like a plan. All right, so let's also talk about the Chicago National League Ball Club and go through their lineup. Michael Busch hit his 28th. He's had a hell of a year. Whatever that trade ends up doing for the Dodgers with Jackson Ferris and another player, we'll see. Michael Busch has been a very, very good addition at first base. Nico Horner, for me, is the MVP of the team. He's been
What did I say about this guy going in? You wanted to trade him in the offseason. I told you can't.
I did not want to trade him.
You did.
I said,
hey, Ryan, don't go the
payroll. I said if they're going to have to cut payroll, maybe they'll trade his $11 million. I would not like to move it.
You kept trying to trade him.
No shot.
I kept saying he's got a rare skill set in the game today, and it's going to play, and it did. And by the way, he's got a shot at the batting title.
He does.
Stretch here, and is Trey Turner still out? Because I'm looking up Trey Turner right now, and seeing if he would qualify if he doesn't play anymore. So he's got 140 games. He's got plenty of at bats. So if he doesn't play again, he's sitting at 305. So that's a lot of ground to make up, but torrid couple of weeks.
Never know. Yeah, Nico has been outstanding, and that guy plays so hard and hustles. And yeah, I'm a big fan of how he plays the game. So Dansby, he's been fine. A solid defender, probably wins a Gold Glove again. Maybe not. I thought Matt Shaw in the second half has been a revelation for this team. He has stabilized third base. Left field, Ian Happ, the second half of the season, he's going to finish again with a plus. Weighted runs created. He'll be above league average. Yeah. He's got 20 whatever homers.
He's always streaky.
Just a solid player. PCA's had a hell of a year. Seiya, it's hard to say a guy's going to approach 100 RBIs, and he's had a disappointing last 6 weeks. Wildly disappointing. And KyleTucker, here's a question I asked Jesse Rogers on ESPN 1000 this morning on Cap and Hood. If KyleTucker called you and you're the president of baseball operations today, right now, it is the 16th of September. Hello. Gordon? Yeah, it's KyleTucker. What's up? I told my agent I'm making this call. I like it here. I want to sign today. Drop the papers. Fully guaranteed 10 years, $375 million. Are you doing it? Because I'm not.
I'd probably try to talk him down. From what I've seen, I'd probably try to talk him down from that number.
I would go to him and say, how about we do this? You didn't have a great year. You've had some injury issues the last 2 years. I'll give you a 3-year deal at $40 million a year. I'll put opt-outs in there, and then we can revisit after next season.
No. If I want to, if I care enough to make a counteroffer because I want to sign him, I'm not going to insult him with something like that. He's going to have, because of his age, he's got this chance. This is his one chance to get years. He can't do that. He's not 26, 27 years old where he can do one of those deals like these other guys and do a
I can't give him 10 years, Gordon. He's had 2 years where
then he's got to go to the marketplace and see what he can get.
Do you think someone in the market's giving him 10 years?
I don't know. I don't know. We've seen crazy things. I didn't think anybody would give Juan Soto $765 million in non-deferred money. That's fucking ridiculous. Excuse me. That's freaking ridiculous. Shohei Ohtani, even with the deferred money, I didn't think was getting $700 million. I didn't think that the highest salary in baseball or highest contract in baseball would jump that far from one to the next. So I don't know. I just don't know what somebody's going to be willing to give. I know when he's healthy, he can be one of those those rare left-handed bats you can build a lineup around. And we saw the impact he had in the first half, what he did for that entire lineup. That's a big, big deal. And so somebody may look at that and say, that's the one piece we're missing. I'm going to give him 10, knowing I'll get 5 or 6 out of that deal, but I might win 2 championships along the way. Somebody might do that. I don't know who that is, but you got to go to the marketplace and find out rather than.
Would you do that is the question if you ran a team? And then I'll tell you how Jesse answered it.
Well, look, I'll give you an example. If the Reds were a bigger market team, I would do it if I was the Reds. Now, if I'm the Reds right now going into next season, I do a $40 million a year short-term deal for somebody because I can afford that on my books where the payroll is. Even though they cry poverty all the time, it's a bunch of crap, and they've got more money than they let on. But they're a team that has everything else. If they had one slugger in the middle of their order, they'd be a playoff team right now. They'd be 10 games over 500 right now and be in the playoffs. That's what they're missing. So if I was a larger market team, if I was a Cardinals with exactly the roster the Reds have now, I might give him that deal.
10 for what? 375?
10 for 375, maybe even 400.
Yeah, I would not give that type of length.
If that was the one skill set I needed, the one type of player I needed to get over the top. But if you need other things too, and that may or may not help you, or you already have other guys in the lineup, then no, like the Mets aren't going to do it because they already got Juan Soto. And they're not going to, even if Pete Alonso's gone. I don't think that doesn't make any sense for the Dodgers. I mean, Dodgers could do it. I don't think they do it. The Yankees could use him because they got that short right field porch. The Yankees will be in on him, I would imagine.
Gordon, where are you at today?
St. Louis, my man.
All right. Well, you have fun. Be safe. And again, hated to have to call you out for being a journalist.
Oh, please. Oh, I'll wear that one. You think that's some kind of an insult tells me more about you than
kind of is.
Yeah, I'm not so sure, Cap.
Love you. Have a great day.
Yeah, you too, fanboy.
Exactly. You're the best. There he is, the great Gordon Whitmire. That's another edition of our Cubs Recap Podcast, a presentation of our Recap YouTube channel, and available audio only everywhere you get your favorite podcast. For Gordon, I'm Cap. And again, thank you to our brand new sponsors at Sinus and SnoringMD.com. Your fall allergies in full swing. Are you snoring like I used to? Sinus and SnoringMD.com. See ya.